Welcome back to Project Independence in You on Community Talk Radio, 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. Your host, Rebecca Miller, along with Otto Los. And now we are coming to the last hour of the show, which is Talk of the Town, which Kristina Lou is a radio show producer and among many other things with Project Independence, will fill us in on what's going on with the show. Now, you look fantastic. So for those of you who are not watching Project Independence in You on North Hempstead,
that's right. You better tune in. Get to YouTube or North Hempstead TV stat.
You really must see. Kristina really looks adorable. She's got reindeer. She's all dressed up like a reindeer, and she just looks adorable. And she's got a Santa sweater on, and it's not even ugly.
You know what? It's our last show of 2021. So I really had to, bring it, essentially.
Yeah.
But this is
actually, it's not, we won't be on again until when? January?
Yes, January 7th. We
7th,
come back.
right? 3 weeks.
Yes, because the next two Fridays, one is Christmas Eve and one is New Year's Eve. So we will have repeated shows. I know WCWP plays some holiday music, I believe. But we will be back in 2022, which is crazy. So this is a very
3 weeks or
show.
4?
What'd you say, Beth?
That's 3 weeks from now. Okay.
Yes.
You realize,
but great show.
we were talking with Sherry. COVID has now been in our life since April 1st, 2019. That's going to be 2 years coming up, not that far off.
Yeah.
I think 2020.
No, 2020.
Yeah, it was 2020.
Yeah.
It's only a year?
We're
2020. I'm sorry. Yes. We're in 2021. Right. Well,
don't
anyhow,
work together, Otto. I feel you.
Yeah, I'll have to get my calendar straight.
It's all right. These 2 years is all meshed
It's still going to be
together.
almost 2 years that this thing is around, which is unbelievable, really. And it's not over.
No, but you know what? Listen, I think, of course, it's scary, right? Because it's not necessarily over, but we do certainly know more than we did, right? So yes, I think unfortunately this is something that is not going to be magically, disappeared off the earth. So we have to kind of just acclimate, whichever way we can. It's a weird thing that we have, but we're making progress, and I think
we have to manage it.
Yes.
Right now we're still learning about it.
Right.
And it will, like the flu, it's now at a point where it's managed. We get our shots. It's still the unknowns how to manage it. So I think we're not going to control it,
right,
but we can definitely learn how to manage it. And so, when we have spikes and, it's not like, okay, no, now we have to wear it. It's really like, it's just going to be what we,
it's like preparing for how we can prepare. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Well, we're not totally sure what's going on, but like I said.
I agree. I mean, we're learning how to manage it as part of our life at this point.
Right, because unfortunately we have to. It's that weird realization that we can't be like locked down forever, for numerous reasons. So it's going to take some, it's certainly taking time. It's a lot longer than I expected. But we just got to kind of make do at this point. It's, we don't want to scare people, but I think it's important to, just take one day at a time, protect yourself, and others. And that's really all we can do, because other than that, I understand why people are confused, because things change quite frequently. So I feel your pain, everyone out there. But it's one day at a time. But back to Shari, because it was really nice to have her, because she's part of the the DOSA PI family, and such a wealth of knowledge. And we all we're in a very small office, so we certainly hear her all day long talking to people. And John Ryan used to always call her the travel agent of the town, because she, and you guys brought up, she's not just dealing with the transportation program. There's other things that are outside of it that she's still helping people connect to and figure out. And I love like when it's like, it's like finding like the most economically friendly, kind of thing. It's like, all right, take the transportation to this location to the, and it's really like a puzzle that she puts together and it's such a lifeline. And
Well, the
especially,
word mobility
yeah,
really covers a lot, and
it really, really does. And
clearly she's expanded on her knowledge and involvement in
yeah,
mobility, in a
no, and
lot
it's
of
great,
different areas.
and Beck, you had mentioned the taxi companies that we're partnered with, and I think that that's so special because you know, they become part of our network. So if there's other things that kind of fall out of the purview of the PI transportation program, we still have relationship with these, different companies that we're able to actually, help the senior out. And it's wonderful. So I have to give a shout out to that. I know she had so much information to still go through, and I just want to touch upon because she couldn't finish her, what to keep in your car. We're always here talking about being prepared and whatnot. So these are just, a couple of little things just to keep in your car. One of those telescopic brushes, scrapers. They make so many amazing ones now. I'm always impressed. That's always one of the holiday gifts that goes on in my family is, the snow scraper. Because it's torturous. And luckily, hopefully I always wish that my husband or, my dad will, that's like the real solid thing my dad will do will be like clean off my car. Cause there's nothing worse than coming out, having to go to work and just saying like, how do I even tackle this task? But it's so important. I always think about to clean off your hood. So they have your roof because they have, these things now. I mean, they're crazy. They extend and you could, there's all kinds of interesting, it's not your basic brush anymore because it's so important to do that because I think we've all been behind the person who didn't get to clean off their roof and you just see like that giant, mound come crashing down. So it's dangerous for not only the driver, but for the people on the road. So definitely have that in your car. A little portable snow shovel. They have small ones also that expand now. Kitty litter or sand, a blanket, extra gloves, a hat, spare medications, which you had touched upon, which I think is so great that not everyone thinks about. Non-perishable snacks, jumper cables, reflective gear, phone charger, which is huge. I think that's something that I'm really conscious every time I'm in the car. I'm like, is there a phone charger here? And then just a paper towel or old towels, for things. So those just a couple of things to have. And it's really important also to just kind of maintain your car. Make sure the oil is changed. Make sure you have the right fluids. Luckily, new cars. Yeah, and new cars today, have a lot of alerts that kind of keep you prompted, which is beneficial for someone like myself who's just like, driving around like hoping for the best. But these are just things to do that, can keep you safe, especially in the winter because we're dealing with, temperature concerns.
Windows are interesting because the washers take care of one part of the windows. It don't take care of a lot of other stuff. Between birds and snow and whatever. But the worst one is the inside of the window.
Yeah.
Even if you're not a smoker, on a given occasion, you when you drive, all of a sudden you got very bad visibility. Because there's like smoker stuff on the inside of your window. And keeping the inside, I just bought a gadget. I didn't get it yet. It's a long handle and it has a thing on the end of it that you can use to just go up and down without having to reach in and crawl in to get to the window, the front window. I'll let you know how it works.
Yeah, let us know, Otto. We could do like product reviews about,
Because
like
I think most of us are either lazy to do the inside or it's kind of uncomfortable to do the inside.
Yeah, it's an awkward angle. And that's, my point is there's so many wonderful little gadgets out now that are inexpensive, and that have, I love all these attachments and things like that. If you look at my TikTok page, I just constantly follow just gadgets, Amazon gadgets, because there's always, I got a great shoe cleaner I found that really, really works really well. So these are the things I like to use social media for. Is like a fun cleaning product or gadget to use.
Let's do something here. Your TikTok page. What does that mean?
So I'm very novice, right? I'm sure people who are listening have seen TikToks, whether it's little short video clips, and people commit to it. I'm not making videos, let's be clear. I'm more of a voyeur. I like to just follow things and get tips for different things because it's a great way to get, like I said, I look at a lot of cleaning products and gadgets. So now I'm in kind of this cipher where I constantly am getting just different recommendations and stuff because they see what you're following. So,
but is that what TikTok is? Is a place where people put information?
Yeah, so if you're you get
like I go to
everyone's
YouTube a lot of times to
yes.
come up with stuff. Is TikTok in that category or?
Yes and no. It depends. It depends on it's a very broad thing. So people use it for all different kinds of things. There's funny things, there's skits, there's dances, there's people just rambling, but it's just a lot of short video clips. And I like to look at these gadgets because you learn.
It's
there's
addicting.
So many great. Yeah,
it's addicting. If you're on Facebook, Otto, you just have to go to that little video icon and you can watch them all. You just go through all day long and you see.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on Facebook and frankly, I have Twitter, I have this, I have that, and I get to a point where I try to minimize some of it. The family does Snapchat, between Snapchat and Facebook and email and you just said TikTok and, you could spend a day on that stuff.
Well, I have to laugh because I don't, I'm not really on it. Like I said, I'm not super crazy, with TikTok, but a lot of my friends are, like my brother and like my best friend, because you'll see everyone, because you do just get stuck in this scrolling universe. And it's hilarious because it comes to a point, this is when you've been on way too long, that a person pops up and tells you it's time to take a break. So, I mean, at least they're doing that, but I have to laugh because you also hear you have been scrolling, I think it's time to take a pause. So if you get to that point, guys, I think it's break time, put the phone down.
You can add Instagram to that too, by the way. That's another one that
yes, that's my favorite mode. I like to see pictures. I think Facebook gets a little controversial for me, not too into it. There's just a little too much drama that I just don't really care to.
They've cut down a lot, though. There was one point, and maybe because I said something or other, they were getting heavy into the politics part of it. And that's not why I went on Facebook.
No, I don't.
I really don't. Everybody has an opinion.
Yeah.
And, I don't need you to try to ram your opinion down my throat, basically.
No, and this is an interesting topic. Yes, of course, we, veered off slightly, but I think it's important for anyone of any age, right? Social media is wonderful to connect you. I am not taking that out. It is amazing that you can connect to people, especially during this time that we're in, right? So you were able to, talk to someone. I mean, my aunt's constantly meeting some kind of relative all the time and, someone from high school, so it really connects your world, which is nice. But there's also another part of it that's very toxic and you really need to check yourself. And I look at it and see what people are saying. And it's a lot. So it's important to, everything in moderation, right? That's kind of how I just try to live my life in general. And that's certainly with social media as well, because it's can be a little intense.
Well, things like Facebook, though, you can, there's a thing where you click and you can knock certain topics off. Or,
yes, I've done that numerous times.
Don't
want to see this anymore.
You don't want to hear from Kristina for 40 days.
Is that what you've done to me, Otto? You've got some nerve.
Is that why I haven't heard from Otto? I want to just go back one thing with the whole transportation program. Sherry was wonderful. Of course, she's a wealth. But just like the radio show, Project Independence Transportation, the taxi program, came to be from an idea from a resident, a senior resident. So, that's, to go back to the advisory boards, but who would have thought, 12 years ago or whenever it was that, we started using taxis, that it would become so huge to the point where we're getting, funded with $1 million grants, so it just really goes to show you, Project Independence, we do listen to seniors. I mean, they're the ones that are living in this community and, and the radio show also, right?
Yeah, well, that's, and that's what I think, we say this all the time is it's just the collaborative effort of everything, and it's really, and that's what just makes it successful. And, Otto, you always have such a point when we talk about replicating this program. And I think what is so unique and keeps it, you know, kind of going the way it is that it is a local government, you know, a town. So it's a local, I mean, it's big but small, you know. But
well, and there's a continuity
right
of people and philosophy, um, which to me is very important. Because if you have a situation where this so and so's gone, this one's now in, that one's gone, this one's gone, whatever. There's always a new, it's like a new corporation gets a new CEO,
Mhm.
and all of a sudden they have to change the logo, which has been there for 40 years. Of course, why? Because this person wants to put their mark on the tree, if you will.
Yeah.
No.
No, it's true. And that's what's important is, you know, with Project Independence, most of us, you know, have been there for the beginning or, you know, close to the beginning. So, you know, I always say about this because when I talk about my mom's been working for a bazillion years. And she's always the question is like, when is Barbara going to retire? You know, she's been with Nassau BOCES for like, I want to say like 40 plus years. It's something crazy. And as she was talking about that, she is so involved in the history of things, you know, and then she's like, I feel sad when I go, like that's gone, you know, that knowledge, because that's such a huge part of our program, you know, is really knowing the history, knowing the residents, you know, they've been with us for so long that it's like family, you know, frankly, you know, and that's what I think makes the program so unique and special. So that is my PI spiel.
That was a good spiel. We will be right back. You're listening to Project Independence and You, Talk of the Town on Community Talk Radio, 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. We will be right back.
So I get this call from my grandma, and she's like,
"What's a podcast and how much does it cost?"
So I tell her, podcasts are like radio shows, but you can download them on any device and listen to them anywhere at any time, and they're free. And then she says,
"I see, but where can you find good ones?"
And I'm like, go to wcwp.org/podcast and check out the lineup of original shows, or download any podcast app on your phone or tablet and search for LIU Studios. And she's all like,
"Oh, that sounds easy."
And then she asked me what an app is.
LIU Studios podcasts, available on any podcast app. You know, those little button things on your phone screen. Just ask your grandkids.
Oh, welcome back to Project Independence and You, Community Talk Radio on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. Your host, Rebecca Miller, along with co-host Otto Los and Kristina Liu, who is the radio show producer, and all along also with Dan Cox, who is the director of 88.1 FM, WCWP.org. We're all here today, and we're at the Talk of the Town segment. You know, Otto, before break, you had brought up about the continuity of, you know, the staff and everybody who's been here. And Kristina, you mentioned that mostly everybody has been here since, you know, implementation of Project Independence, when we were the true initiative. You know, we really were just starting off. The other thing is that most important, another, you know, I want to say secondary, maybe number two to, you know, the staff and residents are our partners. Our partners we've had since day one as well. I mean, look at every single partner that was working with us, right? We have, I mean, though we do have some newer partners, the foundation of the program was really built around our human services with Northwell and Winthrop and social work and, you know, EAC, even though they were in our primary social work service when we started, they were always involved.
They're always
in
a part
Project
of
Independence and, you know, their respite program. So all of our partners are, you know, it's everybody buys into this program. And, you know, we have to acknowledge that we are very lucky in North Hempstead. Again, I say this all the time because of how resource rich we are, you know, with all the hospital systems, right, all in North Hempstead. I mean, of course, Northwell and Winthrop is now NYU Langone. And
I know we got to get used to the new names.
We have
St. Francis, Catholic Health.
Right. It's not, but I'm just saying, you know, that whole facility and the services they provide have been with us since day one. And St. Francis and cardiology, mobile unit. I mean, everything has been here since day one. And it's so, it's wonderful again because of all these resources. Even our, like even Taxi Hispano and Deluxe and All Island, they've all been with us since pretty much day one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Rebuilding Long Island and all the minor home repair programming. And if you think about it, so Otto, it has a lot to do with that continuity, and it's legit. We are, definitely.
The people who are members
important.
also are part of that continuity.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, like, look at it for a long time.
They're known. People know who people are. It's not like talking to a stranger. It's a great program, and it's mostly.
No, I'm looking enter 2022. Knowing that we're going to continue.
It's not a politically motivated program. There's nobody trying to climb over somebody else. It's all about this program working and doing what it does very well. That's no question about it.
No, absolutely. And we're entering 2022. Obviously we never know what the situation is or what's going on with virtual or not virtual, but we're still making do. So we are plowing full stream ahead. Obviously the radio program, we're continuing, at least for now, with the Zoom format, which frankly is really great and works wonderfully. I see it firsthand because I'm the one scheduling, and it just really makes life a lot easier. It's an easier sell for people to be able to agree and say yes, and frankly, I'm able to get people from different states on now that have great information,
that's great.
Which is wonderful. We're having a topic in February about, Amazon Alexa and stuff, and they're not from New York. So it's nice that people can just zoom in and, and hopefully we're going to be able to have people if they want to come and listen to the show, so we'll see where it goes. We're constantly trying to update and do different things, but, like this mode is working. So it's nice. And, with obviously the exercise program, there's been a partial, both via, North Hempstead TV plus, in person. So it's, I'm always so amazed with how we kind of adapted to these, the world, we didn't leave people like completely isolated and
no, right.
Which I think is so great. So there's exciting stuff. And look, and the weather, hopefully it's not going to be bad. But, having it be, virtual a lot of times is nice because Beck, I think you can agree, we certainly had a lot of difficulty in the past with winter programming because the constant cancellations because of snow. So it was always chaotic, but it's nice having this kind of mode now. So
we're very lucky, I'll tell you that, as far as weather goes, because you look at some of these things that you see on TV right now with the tornadoes. Man, I'll tell you, I empathize with those people.
I know.
That's brutal.
It is. And that's why we always say, you count your blessings.
Exactly.
And gratitude and thankful. And that's what I think, we always, around this time of the year, everyone's getting prepared for their, New Year's resolutions and stuff. And I've never been like a New Year's resolution person per se, because I hate the idea of like putting it out there and then like you're forced to like, you feel like you failed if you didn't do it. So I just like to like throw like ideas out that I'd like to, incorporate and like work on. And I think that that's something, we had a show a couple of weeks ago talking about gratitude and going into this, 2022 it's important to, have that be the primary focus, kind of filter all the crazy negativity stuff that's going on and push that back and put your gratitude in the forefront of it. So, I'll have to quote one of my favorites, Matthew McConaughey. I was just watching him this morning while I got ready on Jimmy Fallon. And he was, he wrote a book, which I love the audiobook and I highly recommend anyone to listen to it because there's nothing more soothing to me than Matthew McConaughey's very peaceful voice as I drive in traffic home. But he was talking about the importance of journaling. And that's how his book came about, because he would just forever, he has like so many journals. And I liked it because he was saying, a lot of people think, they're going to write just when things are bad, right? You always see on TV the cliche, the teenage girl writing like, my life sucks, all this stuff in her diary or whatnot. But he was saying he likes to look back at the positive journals about when things were good. So when you are feeling, down or in some kind of a rut, you can look back and say, what was going on then? How was it working for, why was I feeling good then? What was I doing differently?
Mm-hmm.
And that I just thought was so interesting, because, you don't really think to be like, let me just check and kind of reframe what's happening now. So it was definitely, something I was like, I'm going to put that in, Matthew McConaughey. I'll put that in my little golden nugget box.
So is that going to be one of your resolutions to journal?
I'd like to, I can't, I like I said, I hate to commit to doing it because I feel guilty if I didn't do it one day. But I think even, there's shorthand journaling, and listen, I love a note. And that's something I to even just do that, I'm big on getting it out of your head. So, I'm going to try. I want to definitely do that and kind of just be a little less stressed.
I have a thing called hodgepodge. And what it is it's been really over a period of years. Occasionally I get a whim to write some stuff for the family, if you will, about the family history or whatever. And I wound up with a little bit here and a little bit there and some on ancestry and here, there, wherever. So I decided to consolidate this stuff, copy and paste it into what I call hodgepodge. And it's really in no particular order, no particular topic. It talks about when I was a kid, baseball was a big deal to me when I was a kid. We made it to the New York City championship on the team I played on. And I look back on that many times and I thought about it, things like that were part of my life and they were an important part of my life. They kind of made me who I am now. And I try to stick a lot of that stuff in. And I put stuff about COVID and how it affected people and whatever. World War II.
Otto, I think when's the Otto book coming?
Well, I'm rambling.
You know what I mean, Beck? When is the Otto memoir?
World War II was very conflicted. My parents were here, and they were here for many years, and they came here from Germany when they were 17 years old. They both father and mother had people who were in the German army, some of whom got killed, and I wrote about that. And my mother's brother was a prisoner of war. He was in the German army, and he was in Arkansas in this country as a prisoner. So, what it boiled down to is, to me, it's the stupidity of war, first of all. And I was in the service, and I did my thing. But, things like that to kind of just reflect my thoughts. And
no, that's so cool for your family, Otto. I mean, I love that you do that. I think about this often because we're so caught up, in the hustle and bustle of our lives. And, especially when you're younger, you're not really thinking, right? I should be, sitting with my grandparents and documenting, all these great stories and tips, I luckily did a lot of that, because I spent a lot of time with my grandparents. But of course, even now it's, you miss, you're you just want to pick up the phone and call them and say, who's this in that picture? Or, blah, 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 Luckily my mom and my aunt are very, big on that. And my aunt's always, into the history of things. So we have that. And, my mom just celebrated her birthday the other day, and I took a book of my grandma's recipes. She had all these little recipe cards, and so many of them were beginning to fade. So I took them and I put them in a new, recipe book, that had protective covering and stuff. And of course I took pictures because I was let me just double, triple check this. But it was so important because these are things, you want to have forever,
but you are a unique person. All right. I'll admit that when I was your age, I didn't ask too many questions.
Yeah. But there's even some I wish I asked more,
I wish I asked a lot more now, let me tell you. But as you get older, you realize, you look back and you say, geez, what was it like for my father and mother? I know they both lived on farms. They both lived in a very rural part of Germany. They both lived in poverty, basically. But they never really reflected that. What was it like?
Yeah. I know you want to.
I know my mother never wanted to go back. She was very happy here. My father too. But it's how did the whole thing started, for me.
I know, it's definitely.
They
Well, you
came
guys
here and why,
a little journaling story with my mother, which I can relate to what you're saying, Kristina, and also Otto, because something that from her youth, she went cross country when she was a teenager with her friends and her friends' parents. So it was just the two girls, and they drove cross country and went, and she, kept a journal, and she wrote every day. And she, at the time, was also dating my father. So it was, it's like he'd get a letter where she knew she was going to be at a hotel.
Oh my God, I love it.
He would write back, well, call me on this day in a week, So it was like, and, she wrote in the journal just, all about that and how she started to miss him. And then, oh
my God, I love it.
And this just happened, Kay. This just happened, I think, like a few months ago. She had found it, and in her handwriting, and
so
and it
cool.
was just like, it was so cool to hear how my mother felt about my father and how he kind of stayed on top of it and how she missed him. It was, but also her incredible journey cross country with her friend. And these hotels, and then they would stay in a town for a while, somewhere rural, and everything was pretty much rural.
What's funny? Like it's no secret if anyone knows me. I love to take pictures. I am, my grandfather's granddaughter.
I had no idea.
Which today actually would have been his birthday. So happy birthday in heaven to my grandpa. But so I think about him, this time of year, certainly, heavy thought on him. And I always think about when I take pictures because I laugh with my friends, because I'm like, they know, no one, everyone knows if I'm having a party, no one is to touch a thing or a table or eat like a morsel until I take that picture, right? And it's funny because all my friends now are fully trained. They're like, did you take a picture yet? So they know. But, I almost use taking pictures as a journaling kind of thing, so sure. It's a visual instead of the word, and just as you were talking back, I was like thinking about that because I laugh with my husband and my friends because there's so many times like, oh, Kristina, where do we go here? When we do this? I said, well, you're all laughing at me for taking the pictures, but I could just pull it up and let you know. And especially before we had, iPhones, now, I mean, I have got like 10,000 versions of one picture. I had all these books and stuff, with with print photos and stuff. So
well, you think about, Rebecca, think about what your mother was talking about, all right? That probably happened sometime in the 50s.
Yeah,
all right?
Early 50s.
The 50s were a different planet altogether, all right? There was no email, there was no texting, there was no cell phone. To make a phone call, you had to go to a phone booth and have some nickels or dimes in your pocket to make the call, which wasn't always easy. You had, when you talked about hotels, I could tell you because I went with my family to Minnesota in around 1948 or 9 on a cross-country trip in a car, which was a big deal back then. But when you talk about hotels, a lot of them were called cottages back then. And you would get, I remember the number for some reason. We went to a cottage, which was basically a brick, not brick, a wooden thing, which was by itself, and there were lines of them. And it would cost like $4 a night to stay at that place. I'm not, I remember the number. And these things were very rustic, if you will.
I like that.
Holiday Inn or any of those kinds of things did not exist in most cases, all right? You wound up going to these kinds of places. So when your mother says they went to a hotel, usually it was like the Dilly Dally Motel or,
it wasn't a hotel. They were motels, and
I mean, in a different kind of motel than you're used to now.
Right.
You see some of the old kinds of motels occasionally where they have a couple of them lined up.
And like the old time movies.
Beat up a little bit looking, but
sounds like Dirty Dancing, guys. I like it.
Yeah. But I mean, that was a different deal altogether, traveling across country in the 50s, early 50s.
No, but it's so important, and I think that that's the message out there for everyone. It's never too late, you know, if you were listening or you have grandparents or parents or a friend, whatever it might be, you know, or you're that person, just to write, like Otto said, it doesn't have to be, you're not writing a book, you know, but it's just writing kind of ideas that pop out. And it's such an amazing thing because it's something that literally could go on forever. And I think it's important to do that. And
See, I try to
a good Christmas gift for the family.
well, like a
You know,
family tree or ancestry. I'll go real quick.
We're going to take a
lot of
break.
times
We're going to take a break time.
Okay, we'll do
we'll
it
get right
after.
back to you
Yeah, we'll
as
do
soon
it
as
after.
we come back. This is Talk of the Town with Project Independence in You on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. We will be right back.
Take WCWP with you wherever you go with the WCWP app. Listen live 24/7 to all of our streams, all from one app. Plus, call the studios directly from the app and visit our social media. Download the app through the iOS App Store on Apple devices or the Google Play Store on Android by searching WCWP Radio or visit WCWP.org for links. The WCWP app, available now on iOS and Android devices.
Welcome back to Project Independence in You on Community Talk Radio, 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. This is the Talk of the Town segment. It's the last segment of
2021.
And I think Otto was wanting to say something.
Naturally.
I'm not sure. Oh, okay.
You know, a lot of people, including me, you put together a family tree, you put it on Ancestry or draw it on paper, whatever you do, and you have names and you have dates when they were born and dates when they died, and it tells you nothing. So my point is, like this hodgepodge thing, you really want to humanize this box that's got a name with a date, 2 dates on it, and maybe some other dates like when they were married or who knows what. But that doesn't, like you look at it and you say, okay, so I know you were born in 1903 and you died in, 1980. What about you? What were you all about? How did you fit into this whole family scheme?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the kind of thing that future generations will look at. Some will and some won't, could care less. All right. That's the way it is. And that's true today. I mean, I know friends of mine, they don't care. They do not care. I cared. And I know some people in my family will care. So you try to humanize these things by making notes, logs, whatever you want to do, and look back and reflect on what you have in your head and put it down. I'm talking not just you here, but anybody who's listening who has made a family tree. Think about it. I mean, you got a name and it has 2 dates, and now what? That's good.
No,
it's
and
good
it's, speaking from someone who was very, close to their grandparents, spent a lot of time with them. It's, so many. Because I look at, my cousins and just other kids, and it's like they're, grandma and grandpa or grandma and grandpa, and like that's just how you know them, and they're just grandma and grandpa. But they were a whole other life before being grandma and grandpa. And it's just so interesting to, and listen, my grandfather outfit didn't care if you were listening or not listening. He was going to tell you his stories multiple times. So you really had no choice. And then he'd probably pop quiz you, which was the running joke in our family, because, you'd be sitting there and he'd be telling, this long, he's a Greek man, a storyteller, and he would tell you forever. And you might have heard this 1,000 times. And then he'd go, now, what was I saying? And then that's the whole family. Everyone looks at each other and it's like, oh God, you just got like Tasso pop quiz. So that was always a running joke in our family, because when it would happen to my dad was my favorite, because he looked like full panic. But it's important and to have those moments and to hear those stories and know, because like I said, they were a whole person before they were your grandma and grandpa, and you might find out some interesting stuff about your family or why you are the way you are. And
well, I know people who have done, and I have not done it. I think the title would be a videographer, where they are people who, what they do is they interview people and ask them questions, older people usually, and they have a routine that they do where they ask questions,
like the same questions, right,
to draw you out,
and
talk about history. And they do
we have our own oral
1 hour
history, right,
version of that. And I thought about it and I haven't done anything about it, but I think it would be interesting.
That's right.
You know, I
You know,
wish I
we'll get
did that
Dan
with
to
my
do it.
father
Dan can
or my
record
mother.
like he does our radio show. He'll record our life stories. We'll just add it to our archive. But listen, I think that's a nice thing to think about around the holidays. You know, the Christmas time is coming. You know, you might be seeing family or you might be virtually seeing family, whatever it might be. But it's kind of a good thing, you know, just go around and just to talk and to get, you know, some insight to these things. So
yeah. So since we are the last segment of Talk of the Town, is there anything going on in the town in the next?
You know, nothing. No. But there's I want to just tell people what is to come on the radio show in 2022 in the beginning, just some topics just to stay tuned for. There's going to be, of course, the crazy topic on joint replacement, which Otto has experienced right now with his wife, you know, going through it. So it's important to, it's very complicated and certainly for any age. Then we have some medication management, the importance of sleep. United Way, who's a great organization that we partner with, is going to talk about Project Warmth. We have on Amazon Alexa for seniors and how, you know, for caregivers and seniors and how that all works. And then we're going to have heart health. So there's a lot of great topics that are really beneficial for anyone of all ages to learn about. So that's what's to come there. Next week, we have our virtual Project Independence holiday party. There's going to be some entertainment, if I'm correct, Beck, right? We'll have some singing.
We're gonna try to get Bud and Linda on. He's not really sure if he has the right setup for his laptop, but I'm gonna after the show, I'm gonna test it and hopefully he'll be able to access the Zoom. So.
And anyone could, you know, join us. It's and I always say to people, the advisory committee is a great place to learn about what's going on in North Hempstead, to voice your opinions or ideas or whatever it might be.
And we definitely use their ideas, right?
Yeah,
to get the radio show and taxi transportation. So yeah.
That is December 21st at 10 a.m. via Zoom. So you can call 311 or 516-869-6311 to get the Zoom link. And if you don't have a computer, you can still call in. So you could also call and we'll give you the phone number that you can call into the meeting and participate, because it's always a nice little celebration of the year, you know, and all of us, you know, getting through it together. And I think that's always the common message, is that we have each other to get through these crazy times. So that is, there's a bunch of beautiful, you know, things around North Hempstead that are lit up. And I have to say something I want to try. I haven't looked further into it, but there's a lot of these drive-through light shows, which are so beautiful. I've done the one at Jones Beach a couple of times, but I also believe that the Nassau County Museum of Art over in Roslyn has a drive-through one. So that's a nice little thing to do too, if you're, you know, looking for stuff to do around the holidays.
That's a great idea.
There's that Luminosity Festival is still going on. That's over in Manhasset at Whitney Pond Park. So you can call to get information upon that, because there's a fee associated with that. But it's all these beautiful lit up kind of winter wonderland. So that's there. You could still donate to the Veterans Drive. They're looking for gift cards for grocery stores or pharmacies. So you can call 311 or 516-869-6311 for information on that as well. And all of our PI programs, you know, we're still meeting. The social groups will still be meeting. So nothing really stops in the winter. And we'll have our Fridays at Yes We Can are going to continue over there with NYU Let Go doing fall prevention. And I know, Beck, our exercise programs are going to continue. So
registration starts January 10th.
Oh,
so you can call 311. Don't call before. No one can register before. We don't have the ability.
Yes, and we will remind everyone, because when we're back on the 7th, of course, we'll talk about it again.
Right. Okay.
And certainly remind people of that. But, so there's a lot of great stuff. You know, it's nice that it's stuff to look forward to. I just got, while we were filming the show, there's going to be another presentation from Project Hope, because a lot of our seniors have really enjoyed Project Hope. So over at Magnolia Gardens, they're going to do that. And it's just about coping with COVID and the changing and, up-to-date facts. I think people just get a little overwhelmed, and it's just nice to kind of talk about mental health on this show, and that's certainly something good, because that was last week, right? We had someone on from
And did you know that I liked what the doctor had said last week, how it's kind of taken a lot of the stigma away from mental health issues. And the new Miss America was crowned, and mental health is going to be her kind of message and vision for her reign.
Good.
So,
that's what I like to hear. I really because that's certainly something I was talking about you guys and the show to my friends and my family this weekend, because I told you I go on my plights about mental health, because it's something that I certainly see affecting a lot of people of all ages right now. So I was talking about our show, and everyone was very intrigued. So see, I was spreading the good word of the Project Independence in You radio show. But I know it's our last segment. Otto and Mr. Dan Cox left their prop at home. But Rebecca, I believe you have your Christmas cracker, they're called.
Yes.
Now this
I
is
could get it, but it would take me a few minutes.
Well, you can whip it out for the family, Otto. This is a tradition.
Actually, I actually put it in a cup with your marshmallow and candy canes or whatever.
If you want to have a moment.
My two grandsons will be here over Christmas. So I put it in a dish that they would be fiddling around with.
Good. That's what I like to hear. But the Fennell family, Lou family, now, we always had these at our family Christmas dinners. It's an English thing. Not sure why we always did it, but, I guess we just like the vibe of it. But it was always fun because it's fun for kids. There's all different kinds. I have like a stockpile in my garage.
I'm sure you do.
Shocking, I know.
How many garages do you have?
Well, I'm really going through it. And I made a thing this year that I wasn't going to buy new wrapping paper because I have so much wrapping paper and bags that I'm just, I'm really going to get through it. But these Christmas crackers, Beck, we will pull ours and see what's inside our thing. Ready? 1, 2, 3. It went flying across my thing. I got a crown. Mine really popped. I'm not sure what even happened to mine. Beck, what is
mine did. All right, let's see. I think I got it all.
We actually do this Christmas Eve, by the way.
I have magic poker cards.
Oh.
What do you get?
I had to get mine from across. Mine really went flying.
I have a clever joke. What do you get if you cross an apple with a Christmas tree?
An apple tree.
Pineapple. A pineapple.
Oh.
Get it? Pine.
Wow. You guys, mine is what is yellow and white and goes down a train track at 100 miles an hour?
What is yellow and white and goes down a train track 100 miles an hour?
This is an odd one. I'm not sure who the joke writer is. I don't think they're writing for SNL, but here's the answer. A train driver's egg sandwich.
A train driver's what?
Egg sandwich.
Oh.
Interesting. They're not but that's the best part, right? So my family loves these jokes because they're usually horrendous. So it gives us, we laugh at. Beck has her crown on. Beck, I got a green crown. So this is something my grandpa always loved as well, because I have endless pictures of my grandfather and I wearing these crowns because he would rock it. And Tasso would pull it off, he loved to take a photo with me because we decided at a very young age that our photos really complemented each other. We brought out the best. It was always a great photo. So there's a lot of pictures of me and Grandpa Tasso with our crowns on. And I also got a little toy, which is a little tiny mini ring toss, which I love anything miniature. So this is adorable. So that is the Christmas cracker.
Why, thank you. That was quite fun.
It's fun for the whole family of stuff to do. So that is one of our traditions. We always think about traditions during this time. So
poker.
So I wanted to share with the audience.
That was very nice.
Of course.
It's interesting. People of any group have traditions.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be interesting sometime to find, have different people from different groups talk about traditions. Like where we live in New Hyde Park, there's a number of Indian people, Asian people. I'd really like to know more about what
Absolutely. I like
their
that, Otto.
traditions
For
are.
2022,
you know?
I'm going to write it down because we'll have to dive into that.
Yeah, I mean, like,
Yeah,
Christmas,
different
certain
cultures.
things, Jewish people, I used to feel bad for kids. And it's just talking openly. When I was a kid, there were people who I went to school with who were Jewish, but they were not able to get into the Christmas part of it so much. And I always felt bad for them. And I would be interested in talking to people who were in that group. What's it feel like? It's just a good conversation, I think.
Well, you know what I have to laugh at, because I was the reverse, because a lot of my friends growing up were Jewish, right? And
Mine too,
I so wanted to have a bar mitzvah, like a bat mitzvah. For like, I was like, because I went to a bazillion of them. And listen, I'll tell you what, 13-year-old Kristina had a great old time. I look back, I was like, I want to do this now. I got like dressed up like multiple times throughout like the weekend.
Kristina, we're going to have a bat mitzvah party for you.
Oh, that's
for your
why.
next birthday.
But that's the running joke that I say to my family. I said, I'm forever living out now my desire. That's why I think I throw like really big parties with great, because I love the party favor, right? Like that was always my thing. Like, what is this party favor going to be? And what do they choose? So I feel like that is in me. And that's why I throw these elaborate parties for myself now. Because I'm, forever searching for my big bat mitzvah debut. But
this has really got me thinking, like Kwanzaa or whatever, all kinds of different holidays. It would be kind of neat to have on the show one person from that group and everybody kind of share these different things that are part of their culture, if you will.
There's a great song, in the show Fiddler on the Roof, Tradition. You should YouTube it and watch it. It's all about.
I just saw Fiddler on the Roof.
Tradition.
Yeah.
I think it's good. I like it.
Just to kind of have just a chat about it. What are the main things that you remember about your holiday and that kind of thing.
It's cute. They do that a lot in schools. They do unity fairs, and a lot of people represent all different cultures and their foods, all that kind of stuff. Oh, well, guess what time it is?
Oh,
no, it's not that time. It's
not that time. I know I could tell because there was no hands up. I knew.
Okay.
I popped in for a reason. First of all, 11 years ago yesterday, we sold our Southampton station. And in the year that happened after that, all of this came to be because I needed some communities to get involved in the radio station. And you guys were the first, and you've been here for 10 years. And I appreciate all that you've done for the station. I need to tell you, though, as we close out, because I'm not going to see you until the new year, this has been a very difficult year for me personally because of the COVID and all the work that has to go on here. One of my saving graces is my 2 hours every Friday morning that I get to spend with you, and I spent with John. And
well, thanks, Ted. Here he goes.
I know.
We couldn't get through the end of 2021. I just need you to
know, as we come to the end of the year, how much I appreciate you, how much I love all of you, and John, who I miss dearly. And like I said, I look forward to every Friday morning hanging out with you guys, listening to the goofballs, especially in the second hour. But it's been a wonderful run, and we'll pick it up again in 2022, and hopefully we'll all get through it once again together, as we've done for the last year.
Beautiful, Dan.
So
Dan likes to act like he's not as big of a sap as the rest of us, but I know he's over there, getting just as emotional. And I like that I'm going to get through this show, not shed a tear, but thank you.
No, I was going to get you to cry no matter what.
That's right, but, I think it's important, and that's what I wanted to say too. This show has been my therapy, my group therapy, and that's why I'm such an advocate for people to get together. And, we're not doing anything formal here. We're kind of just voicing what we're going through. And I think it helped other people who were going through similar stuff, and it's a pleasure to work with you guys. I love you all dearly. And I loved our new kind of tradition of me sneaking up at your houses and dropping off, little goodies.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot to bring that in this morning.
I think that's what it's about, right? That's been our message through the show, and I hope in 2022 we can, no matter what comes our way, we'll laugh through the tears, because I'm like totally crazy, because I am laughing as I through my tears as we sit here.
Running out of time, guys.
And that's it, my friends. Happy
New Year.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Healthy New Year.
Take care, guys.
All right.